David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. Memorials in Washington to important events and people seem to be everywhere, and they're impossible to miss, except when they're nearly impossible to find, such as this memorial to the first scheduled airmail service in the United States. I'm in West Potomac Park on the site of the old polo grounds. Polo was played here beginning in the early 1900s. And this memorial commemorates an event on a hazy May morning in 1918 when President and Mrs. Woodrow Wilson and thousands of other people showed up on this spot. But they didn't come to watch polo. They came to see the first regularly scheduled airmail service from Washington, D.C. to New York City with a stop in Philadelphia. President Wilson mails a letter to the mayor of New York, and the plane is loaded. You have to remember that this is a time where there are no aeronautical maps. There's no gyroscope, no radar, no signal beacons, no two-way radio. The pilots had to fly low to the ground, and they had to look for landmarks like buildings or barns or lakes, or best of all, railroad tracks. This was very dangerous work. The airplanes themselves were called flying coffins, and 35 pilots die in the first 8 years of airmail service. The Army, which initially ran this service, selected its most experienced pilot for the job. Regrettably, he was replaced by Lieutenant George Boyle, a pilot just out of flight school who was the fiancé of the daughter of a judge who helped the post office out of a jam. Boyle was told to get to Philadelphia he should follow the railroad tracks, and he did, except he followed them south. Realizing his mistake, he landed in a field in Waldorf, Maryland. The field was just plowed by a farmer, so the plane crashed when it touched down. The mail was trucked back to Washington and flew north the next day. 2 hours to New York and 33 hours coast to coast. Airmail was a game changer in how fast information could travel. It's similar to events in our lifetime. Few remember, but FedEx started it as an overnight delivery service.
Federal Express, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
The fax machine made that service obsolete.
You've got mail.
And because of email, you don't see fax machines around anymore. Airmail was the same type of increase in speed in how information travels. It's hard to imagine now, but air travel that we use today owes its existence to the Postal Service. It's because of airmail that a network of airports is built across the country. And the private contractors that eventually take over airmail delivery from the government, they become the airline companies of today that provide the service to which we've become accustomed. No one plays polo here anymore, but every day after work, teams from congressional offices and law firms, public interest groups, and nonprofits show up to play softball or ultimate frisbee on this spot. And as far as planes taking off, the only ones around here now to do that are across the river at National Airport. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw. I know it's around here somewhere.